So I've just finished drawing up 20 loops and placing them onto my ruler. If you want to see how this is done, then please watch the first video in this set of 4 videos. I'll show you how to do that. So the next row that we're going to be working is a stitch called Chain Ridged Broomstick Lace. I'll just quickly show you what it looks like. This is my Indian summer lace top, and it's this row just here. So as you can see, there's this kind of ridge that goes along the front of it, and then behind it, that's where the main part of our loops are. So I'm just going to turn it over so that I'm looking at the back of the work. Now, at the very start of this set of videos, I pointed out that you couldn't do this stitch if you were using a regular knitting needle, which would have a stopper at the other end of it. I suggest using a circular knitting needle if you're using a knitting needle rather than a ruler or a traditional broomstick. And the reason why is because what we're going to do is slide all of the stitches up the ruler, and we're going to slide them off this end of the ruler. So obviously if there was a stopper here, you wouldn't be able to do this. And my working yarn is at this end here, so we're sliding off the first loops that we worked rather than the last loops that we worked. So the first thing to do is to slide the 2 loops off and put them on your hook. I've got the 2 loops here. Then we're going to slide the next 2 loops off, put them on the hook too, and then draw those 2 loops through the first 2 loops. So these first 2 loops can't escape or come undone now. And then we're going to repeat this. So take 2 loops off, put the hook through them both, pull them both through that previous pair. Next 2 loops, hook through, draw them through. So these loops are all going to get chained together, which is where the name Chain Ridged Stitch comes from. So I'm going to continue this until I've worked all of the loops. So I've just finished working all of my loops off the ruler in their pairs, and this is what it looks like. If you look at the top, it kind of looks like some giant crochet stitches. We've got these pairs of loops and they're all held together, and we've got the last 2 loops on the hook still. So to secure those loops, I'm now at the end with the working yarn, so I can draw up a loop, I can chain 1, and that will stop those loops from coming undone. So I'm going to turn it round. Now if we imagine that these loops are like crochet stitches, we've kind of got a front loop, these 2 strands, and a back loop, which is the back 2 strands together, and what we're going to be doing is working into the back loops all the way along. And what this does is it makes the front loops form that ridge that I showed you previously, and that's where the ridge comes from. So to go into the first stitch, we've already made our chain 1, so we're just going to ignore all that and make the first 2 single crochet stitches. So draw up a loop, single crochet, draw up another loop, single crochet. So we're doing 2 single crochet stitches into each loop. This means we'll end up with the right amount of stitches at the end. So here's the second loop, pair of loops, insert the hook, single crochet, insert the hook, second single crochet, and the next one. So I'm working 2 single crochet into each back loop as I go along, making sure I go around both strands. So you can see this ridged effect starting to appear now. I'm going to finish the rest of the row. So I've just finished working the chain ridged broomstick lace row. This is what it looks like. You can see this ridge all the way along here. The back looks like this. So I would recommend blocking this row, particularly if you want this ridge to be a little bit further up the stitch, because if you block it further up it just looks slightly different. It can appear in the middle of the row, or you can block it further down to get these square holes, just depending on what you prefer. So that's all 4 of the stitches that you will need if you want to make my Indian Summer lace top. I'm going to show you what this looks like blocked shortly so you can see the difference.